Welcome back, guys, to week 10 of your NFL action. I am Ted Rath. I'm bringing to you over 16 years of NFL experience. I've been in a number of roles with 4 different teams throughout the NFL, strength and conditioning coach, all the way up to the vice president level of player performance. And I'm bringing you tips and insights for this week's matchups that will help you follow these games closer, pay attention to your favorite teams, and help you select some of those fantasy players and hopefully continue to compete at a high level within your fantasy league. Let's get this thing kicked off. First one, this is a big matchup. 2 teams battling around that 500 mark. We got the San Francisco 49ers coming into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Multiple players to keep an eye on this one. Let's start off with Tampa Bay's quarterback, Baker Mayfield. He's been battling with a toe injury. He's missed significant practice time this week. One benefit that he does have, Baker does not have to travel. You look at the counter side, those San Francisco 49ers have a coast-to-coast trip planned. They have to fly all the way across the country. That's a 5+ hour flight. They're going to deal with dehydration, all those things. Baker does not have to deal with that. This is huge for him. Now, from a quarterback position, you're looking at a top 5 offense. Liam Cohen, their offense coordinator, is doing a fantastic job this year. He is crushing it, and he's got that team believing in him. That offense is rallying, and they are soaring with confidence. So I think Baker's going to have a good chance to go in this one. He should be okay. Stay tuned to the end of the video, and we'll talk about whether we should sit or start each of these players. Next up, big NFC East divisional matchup. We have the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is dealing with an AC joint sprain. Sounds like more of a minor issue, but that thing can get very painful. And when you're dealing with a wide receiver, a player that has to be rangy, jump, catch the ball, he's taking tackles, he's taking shots across the middle sometimes with those in breakers and those crossing routes. This is an injury to keep in mind because it can flare up. And if he takes one bad shot, that's something that could knock him out of this game or at least make him really, really uncomfortable, and it could affect his play. Stay tuned to the end, and we'll talk about whether we should sit or start him. Now, we talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What about the other side? Those San Francisco 49ers traveling all the way from California, all the way down to Florida. We have 2 players to keep an eye on. The first one, this is a player we've talked about a lot, but he has not made an appearance yet this year, Christian McCaffrey. He is a game changer. When this player is in the game, it completely opens up the offense for Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and those guys in the San Francisco locker room. So Christian McCaffrey has been dealing, obviously, with a plethora of injuries that started with a calf. Then it led to some of those things from the Achilles region. You're going to look at this, but the questions that I have is, number one, he does have to deal with that travel, hydration. All those things are going to play a role. What's the weather going to be like in Tampa? Heat, humidity, all those things that they have to combat, especially when you're dealing with soft tissue injuries. And then outside of that, what's his workload going to be? How have they progressed him? They had the bye week. They said they simulated a week of practice with him. That's great, but is it really like a game in the NFL, a 60-minute game where you're really taking contact and you're repetitively, those repeat sprint traumas, everything that he's going to have to deal with. So keep an eye on this one. Stay tuned to the end. One of his teammates, Juwan Jennings, how is this player going to be impacted? And the other side of this, you have to keep in mind, if Christian plays, that's going to completely open up the passing game for Brock Purdy because you have to significantly counter the Christian McCaffrey effect. So that defense, Todd Bowles, is going to have them dialed in and paying attention, which will in turn open up some of those other players. Then you look at Debo and some of the other guys that have a chance to play in this game. This should be a fun and exciting matchup because you really do have 2 good offenses going against each other, and especially when you start getting back some of those dynamic playmakers. Now, team tip of the week. Huge matchup, AFC versus NFC, and it's taking place in our nation's capital. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off of their bye week, going into the Washington Commanders. Why is this the team tip? Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is 13-4 coming off the bye week. He is 7-0 in his last 7 bye weeks. I would not bet against Mike T. That locker room loves him. The other side of this, coming out of the bye week, they're getting back a lot of their key players. They're getting back several members of their team that they've been missing. And this is still a team that's rolling at 6-2. They're taking on a 7-2 Washington team. This is exciting football. This is going to be a great matchup. But I think you look for Mike T to have the edge coming into Washington and watch for those Steelers to come out again, and he'll make it 14-4 for his lifetime bye week. Incredible coach. He does not get enough credit. Now let's talk about these players, whether we should sit him or start him. Baker Mayfield. He's got a toe. He's got a top 5 offense. He's got an offensive coordinator that's on fire, lighting up the scoreboard. I'm going to start him. Baker's going to come in. I think he's going to do a great job in this game. Look for another exciting matchup. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb at home, doesn't have to travel, but dealing with a painful shoulder injury. The good news for them, you can medicate this. You can do site injections. You can numb that area up. You don't have to worry about too much further damage. But if he does take a shot, it can be very, very painful. So depending on his pain tolerance, I'm still going to say start him because they have to depend on him. Why? Their backup quarterback's coming in. They're without Dak now for multiple weeks. So you got Cooper Rush coming in. They're going to have to rely on their playmakers, and CeeDee Lamb is one of their biggest playmakers. So watch for him to light it up and watch for him to be targeted if he plays and see if he can medicate and go through some of that pain tolerance with that shoulder. Next, Christian McCaffrey. I am going to start him. If he is in this game, I do feel like they have managed him. They have worked him up into an area where he can withstand a normal NFL game workload. Will he get as many touches as maybe his historical average? No, but I think when he does get the touches, he's going to make them count, and this is a dynamic player. I think it's been so long since we've seen him play, we often forget how explosive and how dynamic this player is. Next, his teammate, Jawan Jennings. Jawan, I'm also going to start because of that Christian McCaffrey effect. Christian McCaffrey will change the defense and how they have to align around him and how they have to prevent certain things. I do think that's going to open up passing lanes. You're going to have Brock Purdy sitting back there, being able to really pick them apart in certain points of this game. Keep an eye on this matchup. Hit that subscribe button. Keep coming back. Keep having fun watching all these games.